As we head into week 17, I have 10 players that you need to add to your teams, including Ryan McMahon. How does the trade to the Yankees impact his fantasy value? Then we have young players like Zebby Matthews and Josh Jung improving their value day by day. I've got those names and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominick Martino, riding solo today, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It's going to subscribe you to the channel and give you notification every time we drop a new episode. Or if you're listening on the audio side of things, please make sure you subscribe. And if you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you do that for us as well. And lastly, what's most important to you guys and Matt this time of year, well, you guys, me and Matt this time of year, is joining us on the Insider's Track, right? On the Insider's Track, you're going to get so much more than we offer in these 30-minute episodes, including instant prospect note qualifications. So those are going to be through text messaging alerts going right to your phone. Nobody else in the industry is offering that. And then when we do these episodes, our waiver wire episodes, we will rank these guys for you and tell you how you should prioritize them when they're picking you up, and just once again, so much more than we could offer in these 30-minute episodes. So if you are interested in joining us on the Insider's Track, the link is in the bio wherever you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. And this episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com/LOCKEDONMLB for 50% off your first year. And all right, guys, let's get into it. Week 17, and honestly, I can't believe it at this point. We're not far from the playoffs, and we got 10 guys for you. Well, I got 10 guys for you on today's episode. We need to consider adding to our teams, and let's start with the newest New York Yankee, Ryan McMahon. Third baseman comes over from the Colorado Rockies, and listen, 2 for 3 on Sunday with a run, double. 2 RBIs, actually, was big for the Yankees in that game, and hasn't had a great season on the year. He is hitting .218 with 16 bombs, 42 runs, 35 RBIs, 2 steals, and that's over 101 games played. But listen, it's tough to play for a bad team. A lot of McMahon's underlying stats look good, especially for power. I think it's going to play in Yankee Stadium. It's a better lineup. The runs in the RBI should look a lot better. He's hit 8th and 7th in his first 2 games with the Yanks. So let's see how it goes. I think it's an interesting profile. McMahon is 39% owned. That's up 13% since the trade over to the Yankees. Like I said, there's a lot better profile than what's been shown so far. Even batting average has him at 233, so that's about 20 points higher than where he is now. I think McMahon could be a batter that has like a 240-ish pace the rest of the way, 25-ish home run pace. The RBIs and runs should get better. If you're hurting at third base, I think McMahon is a solid pickup for now, especially the lineup gets so much better. The park, Coors is a great park to hit in, but so is Yankee Stadium. So same kind of difference there. Like I said, I think there's some upside here. I don't think he's going to be like a league-winning type pickup or anything like that. But it's interesting to see a guy who hasn't never really played for a good team throughout pretty much his whole career go over, 20 years old. A lot better context over here with the New York Yankees as far as team and everything like that. So Ryan McMahon, nice little pickup for me. I kind of want to see where it goes, especially on the new team. Let's talk about this next guy, though. Let's move on. Let's talk about Josh Jung of the Texas Rangers. I feel like he's been one of the guys that have been on this episode a lot this year, but a lot of it's been due to injury. He's been up and down this year, and I even think I'm pretty certain he got sent down to the minors a little bit as well. But since Jung's been back on July 21st, he's taken the bull by the horns, went 2 for 2 that day with a home run and 3 runs, has had a hit in every game since he's been back. He even went 2 for 3 on July 26th with an RBI. Here on the 27th as I'm recording, 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. So he's been hot. The Rangers team as a whole has been a little bit better as far, for fantasy purposes. Simeon and The rest of the boys have been heating up, but Dolis Garcia's been a little bit better. Just wish Wyatt Langford could join the crew. But you know what? Jung himself, good profile, has a lot of power in this bat. He's been hitting. He was hitting fifth for a little bit, but they moved him back down to eighth in the last 2 games. If he could hit fifth consistently, I think the RBI numbers and the home run numbers are going to be good. As far as batting average, Jung has a really good profile for it. He's done it plenty of times in the minors where he showed off that he could hit for batting average, have good patience at the plate. Underlying stuff, really not loving him, kind of saying, hey, he should right around where he should be as far as, batting average goes. So if Jung is like a 250 guy, 30-ish, 25-ish home run pace with a lot of RBIs, I think that's what we're going to get from him at this point. But once again, third base hasn't been amazing this year. So, Ryan McMahon, Josh Jung, some sneaky little pickups at third base, and Jung is even less owned than McMahon. He is 28% owned on Yahoo. Let's get into a couple sluggers, man. Let's talk to some guys that just smashed the baseball. And let's start with Tyler O'Neill, back from injury. Is with those Baltimore Orioles, of course, outfielder, back, and he's homered in his last 3 games, and that includes here on the 27th of July. He's been back since July 4th, but I don't think he was fully healthy when he came back. He sat out a couple of games, and he's played consistently since July 24th. And let's talk about what he's done since then. July 24th, 2 for 4 with a run. July 25th, 2 for 4 with a home run, just 1 run and 1 RBI. July 26th, 2 for 2, 3 runs, 3 RBIs, a homer. And here on July 27th, where he got moved to the cleanup spot in the lineup, 1 for 3, homer, and 2 RBIs. Tyler O'Neill's only 33% owned. This is the time to pick up Tyler O'Neill. He may not be healthy by the end of the season, but if you could pick him up for a couple of weeks when he's hot like this and he's hitting home runs at this pace, Tyler O'Neill's a guy who could have an 8 home run month and easily win you a couple of weeks in that month because he's doing stuff like this. 5 outfielder leagues should definitely be owned. AL only should definitely be owned. 15-man should definitely be owned. When you start talking about deeper than that, your deep 12s, if it's not a 5 outfielder, got deep benches. Maybe you're thinking about it if you need some power in your lineup, some RBIs. Because as I said, since July 24th, that's 4 games for O'Neill. He's hit 4th twice, 5th once, and 7th once. If he's hitting like this, I don't see why they wouldn't keep him at least 4th or 5th. So like I said, those RBIs and home run numbers should be nice. And Tyler O'Neill's a guy who could hit way better than the 211 batting average he has so far on the year. Kind of want to see the underlying stuff real quick. Underlying stuff has him as a 251 batting average, and that's right around where I'd expect Tyler O'Neill to be personally at this point. So if you can get a guy 250 batting average, 30 plus home run pace, a lot of RBIs, especially if this Orioles lineup can figure it out, man. It's just disappointing to see this year that this lineup isn't a little bit better than we expect it to be, especially from fantasy baseball purposes. The injuries with guys like Westberg and Kauser and Adley not being as good as we thought. Well, I didn't think he was going to be great, but I didn't think he was going to be this bad. And, Jackson Holliday still getting his legs underneath him, but I think there's still going to be some room for Tyler O'Neill to, hit tanks, driving runs, and not kill you in the batting average department. Just be, kind of baseline for batting average. Once again, Tyler O'Neill, outfielder for Baltimore Orioles, is 33% owned on Yahoo. But before we move into names like another slugger, Giancarlo Stanton, and then I'm going to stir up some controversy because I'm going to disagree with what Matt said on the last episode he did by himself. Stanton and more coming up next. And all right, guys, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you just stop managing your money and start building your wealth. With their surprise insights, when I personally first started using Monarch, I realized how much money I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. With their easy collaboration, it makes managing your money with your partner smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And once again, that's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. And just real quick, before we jump back in and talk about my boy, Giancarlo Stanton, I just want to remind you guys once again, the Insiders Track is the place to be right now. Listen, Matt and I are going to put you over the top in your fantasy baseball league, help you get that Locked On Fantasy Baseball Championship. I know trade deadlines are right around the corner. If you got any trades you want to talk through, you could send Matt and I pictures of, exactly what's going on, screenshots from your league. Matt and I can talk you through it. You can send us your waiver wire, your roster. We can tell you who to pick up when we do these waiver wire episodes. We're going to rank these guys for you, tell you how to prioritize them when you're picking them up. And then even when the next group of top prospects called up, you're going to get a text messaging alert right to your phone. No one else in the industry is offering that. So join Matt and I on the Insider Track. The link is in the bio wherever you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. But let's jump back in. Let's talk about him. The big slugger, Giancarlo Stanton, outfielder for those New York Yankees. I think he is util only on a lot of platforms. He is outfield eligible on Yahoo, however. I picked Stanton up myself. I practiced what I preached. I think about 2 weeks ago, I told you guys to pick Stanton up. And in those last 2 weeks, Stanton has had 28 at-bats, 4 homers, 7 RBIs, 7 runs, and hitting .357. Will this pace continue? Absolutely not. But grab Stanton while he's hot. He's been homering nonstop, up to 7 homers in 28 games played. The Yanks have been giving him a day off here or there, but honestly, he's been red hot. July 20th, 3 for 5 with the run. Homered on July 21st, 1 for 4. Homered again on the 25th, 1 for 4 in that one. 2 for 5 on the 26th, 2 RBIs. He's been red hot. 37% owned on Yahoo. Same applies what I said earlier about O'Neill, but double. I think Stanton should be owned in even just regular 12-man leagues at this point. Just when Stanton gets it going like this, it's another level. He's a guy, 40 home run kind of pace. If he could stay healthy, I don't want to say league-winning pickup, but if there's anybody who can give you a league-winning amount of power, it's Stanton. All the stuff looks good as far as hitting the ball hard and far, like we know Stanton can. He's not going to continue the batting average at this pace. However, he's not going to be a 270 guy. I'd say this: he's a Stanton. If you already own Stanton, he's a great guy to work into a trade right now. If you're working on a trade deadline type of deal, but honestly, there's not many guys that can hit for the level of power, hit the ball as hard and far as Stanton can. He's in a great lineup. He's been hitting cleanup for the Yankees consistently. Pretty much consistently since he's been back. Stanton's been in the cleanup spot. It's a great spot to be. 20 RBIs in 28 games is phenomenal. So is the 13 runs and 7 homers. And then if you play in an OPS league, 890 OPS is elite. There's not really much else to preach, but that I wouldn't rely on Stanton to be there, down the stretch or in the playoffs, but definitely juice the orange. And Stanton is a nice little sneaky name to throw into a deal, to get done at the trade deadline. Let's keep things pushing. And I said I wanted to stir the pot. And if you guys are avid listeners and you listened to the last episode where Matt talked about guys to drop, he mentioned the name Michael Harris, my boy. And if you're familiar with the podcast, I love me, Michael Harris. And I'm going to say what? I disagree with Matt. And I'm going to tell Matt he has to listen to this episode because you know what? I think since Matt has put the bad juju on Michael Harris, he heard him. And he said, guess what? I'm responding. Because Michael Harris had himself a nice little weekend here. On July 25th, he went 2 for 3 with a homer, 2 runs. On July 26th, he went 4 for 4 with 3 runs, a homer, and 2 RBIs. And on July 27th, as I'm recording here, he went 2 for 4. Harris is heating up. 77% owned on Yahoo. He's getting a little bit up there, right? He's getting up there. It's 8% owned over the weekend. When I was writing this early this morning, I think he was about 65% owned. So it's been a big jump for Harris of late. I know he's not out there in a lot of leagues. I know it's a lot higher than we normally talk about, But listen, if you guys listen to the episode, Matt and I normally agree on everything. I just kind of wanted to come out here and disagree with them. And I want to say this, Harris is a second half guy. He's a guy who, career, and I'm going to get you the numbers for his career in the second half, just gets red hot in the second half. The Braves need Michael Harris to be somewhat of the Michael Harris that we expect him to be, right? The Braves want to get to the playoffs. They need him to get it done for them. And listen, man, like I said, he's been heating up. Even over the last the last 28 days, he's hitting 282. So he's been good. Like I said, I want to do the first half, second half career, right? So here we go. Michael Harris in the second half, his whole career, 187 games played, 725 at-bats, 34 home runs, 21 steals, 102 RBIs, 121 runs, a 312 batting average. And he's a career 243 hitter over 271 games, career first half. So I expect Michael Harris to put the boots on. He's going to start stealing bases, start hitting some home runs. I want to say 25 type pace the rest of the way, depending where he's hitting this lineup. Yes, Michael Harris has 49 RBIs and 101 games played, only 28 runs. They moved him up to the sixth spot, since he's been hot. So I think the RBIs are going to be good for Harris. I think the batting average should be a lot better than this, man. Michael Harris, even his career batting average, I know is way, way better than this. Let's do his career batting average is 272. So I'd expect him to be a lot closer to that 275 batting average, 25 type of pace, maybe an 80 RBI and 60 run type of season here for Harris, if at least pacing wise for the rest of the way. So even he's a guy when we're talking about trade deadline type of stuff. Michael Harris is a guy that I kind of want to go out there and at least acquire. I don't think you're going to have to pay much. Check your waiver wires out there. I know there's some leagues I'm in where Harris was dropped where, I went out there and I snagged him. The underlying stuff doesn't look horrible. Batting average 266. The sprint speed is 81st percentile. His glove's been pretty good this year. The base running's been good. I don't maybe the home run, maybe I tamper back the home run pace. Maybe it's a 18 home run pace, 30 steal kind of pace. I think he can really get the boots going. So that's my thoughts there on Michael Harris. A must add for me if he's out there. Not super must. Not if you're in a 10-man league, I'm not running out there. But a 12-man, if he was dropped out there in a 12-man, I'd probably see if I can make room for Harris. Because I think he's going to be red hot for the second half. But before we move on and get into the pitching half of the episode and talk names like Jack Leiter, Zebby Matthews, and those names and more coming up next. And all right, guys, today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue and their perfectly designed hats. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base, right? It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. Me personally, I love rocking it on the course. It's real subtle, stylish, and I can still rep my team. The hat pairs perfectly with my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team logo stuff. It just adds to the lineup I've worn. I always wear. And then I've worn mine to tailgates, tee times, and just out running errands, and I always get compliments. It's not just the hats. They also have split shade gloves made for the golf course. They're perfect gift for the fan who has everything, right? So right now, you can get 15% off with the code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk because colors speak louder than words. That's Game Day Hue, code MLB15. And all right, guys, let's jump back in. Let's get you some pitchers for week 17, right? Let's talk Jack Leiter. Up and down season, former very high-end prospect, son of Al Leiter, former MLB pitcher, was very, very good. Leiter has strung a few nice ones together here. He hasn't, like I said, hasn't really been great, but has had stints. His last two, July 21st against the Athletics, he went 6, struck out 7. Couple earned runs, 1.33 whip, got the quality start in that one. His last time out against Atlanta, a little bit better competition. Got the win, 6 innings, 7 strikeouts again, gave up 1 earned run, had a 0.83 whip in that one. So like I said, Leiter's, kind of finding his stride, still young here. He projects to be against Seattle his next time. They've been a little bit better of late. They also got Josh Naylor over there now, and I know Julio's been red hot. And obviously Cal Raleigh doing Cal Raleigh things. But you know what? It's not like a crazy good lineup. I think if Leiter can maneuver, past those couple of names I mentioned, he'll be all right. Even if he goes out there, 6 innings in his last, 2, 6 innings in 3 out of his last 5, and one of those starts was 5.1 innings. He's been giving you length. He's been giving you strikeouts of late. So I think Leiter, even if it's just for this next one at Seattle, let's see if I can pull up who he projects to get after Seattle, because if that one's a juicy one too, it makes this Jack Leiter ad a little bit more enticing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's the Yankees. So maybe it might just be a one and done here. It's at Seattle too. This next start for Jack Leiter. Seattle's a good park to pitch in, and I think Leiter can, at least give us some strikeouts and some length, even if it winds up being a 3 or 4 earned run start. So maybe we're avoiding him if our ERA isn't looking too great at that point next week, right? But 39% owned for Texas Ranger starter Jack Leiter. Not a bad matchup going into week 17 here. Let's talk about somebody who's a little bit more intriguing, Zebby Matthews, right? Matt and I have been talking about Zebby Matthews all year. Since he's come back from the injury, hasn't been great, but the last start gives me hope, right? His last start, Zebby Matthews, was on July 25th. He went 6 innings, got the win, 7 strikeouts, no earned run, 0.33 whip, and it was a quality start. Zebby Matthews is only 21% owned. Next week, it looks like he's going to get Boston on Wednesday. Let's remind you guys, though, I will say this. Bailey Ober will be back soon. Pablo Lopez is a little bit further away than Ober, so, there might be a little bit of time here for Matthews left in the rotation. But if Matthews can't make an impact, he might not stick around for long. I like the matchup against Boston. Boston, that lineup hasn't been super dangerous. They got the boys over there and Anthony, and even Romy Gonzalez has been, hitting better of late. And why am I blanking? Jaron Duran, Marcelo Mayer. It's not like a crazy good lineup. So I think Zebby can go out there and get it done. At least give you the strikeouts, because Zebby Matthews has pitched 29 innings in the bigs this year, 38 strikeouts. I know the ERA and whip aren't fantastic, but I have hope for a guy like Zebby, who was dominant down in the minors, has really good stuff. I just genuinely think he could be good. He could be good. And even if it's just for this next start at Boston, 21% owned for Zebby Matthews. He's out there in a lot of leagues. I know you guys in deeper leagues listening to. I like the start. I like it a little bit better than the Jack Leiter matchup against Seattle, to be honest, because I think Zebby could be turning a corner here. So my whole thing is, I don't think Leiter can take it to the next level this year. I think Zebby Matthews can, especially when he smells Ober and Lopez behind his back coming back, and he knows if he doesn't make an impression, his rotation spot is not guaranteed. So Zebby Matthews, I like the start against Boston. Looks like it's going to come on Wednesday. Minnesota Twins starting pitcher, once again, 21% owned for Zebby Matthews. Let's talk about Gavin Williams, man. Gavin Williams, to be respectful on this podcast, I'm going to say he's made me angry this year, man. Gavin Williams had a huge spring training with somebody I drafted in pretty much every league I was in, and dropped them in pretty much every league I was in where I owned him. Gavin Williams has been good. He's been good of late. Last time out against Kansas City, gave up a couple earned runs, three strikeouts, 117 whip, 6 innings, quality start. Before that, had a monster start against the Athletics. 7 innings, got the win, 11 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 0.7 whip. The time before that, he was bad against the White Sox, but the time before that, so 3 out of the last 4 have been great for Gavin Williams. July 6th against the Tigers, Gavin Williams went out 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, no earned runs, 0.67 whip. Williams just might be finding his footing at this point in the season. I know it's late, but 3.51 ERA, 1.37 whip, 110 innings, 109 strikeouts for Gavin Williams, starting to look pretty good here. And he's going to be against the Twins. Looks like it might be over the weekend or Thursday, Friday-ish. For Gavin Williams, not a bad matchup. That Twins team, it is scrappy. Definitely a scrappy team over there in Minnesota. But the way Gavin Williams has been going, he can go out there, get you some strikeouts, give up a couple earned runs, and still come out looking pretty good because he's been giving you length of late. Honestly, going all the way back to June 1st, only has one start under 5 innings. A lot of those starts have been 6 innings or more, including that nice 7-inning start on July 20th, which wasn't too long ago. So I think Gavin Williams is a nice little safe pickup. If he's out there, I do like him a little bit more than Leiter. Gavin Williams versus Zebby Matthews rest of season's a nice conversation, but for the next start, to be honest with you, might lean a little bit in the Zebby Matthews department, even though he is less owned. I do think Gavin Williams is a very similar type of pitcher to Zebby Matthews, where they both have good stuff and can go out there and get you some strikeouts, but both struggle with the control at times. So kind of a pick who you will. I'd lean Matthews, for the next start. But let's move into this next guy. Let's talk about Cade Horton of the Chicago Cubs. Now, Horton, young pitcher, a lot of ups and downs this year. First full-blown season in the bigs where he's getting a real run of things right. And not a bad go of it through his 12 starts, Cade Horton. 3.67 ERA, 1.31 WHIP, 4 wins, 68 innings pitched, and 50 strikeouts. He's been really good in his last 2. July 20th against Boston, Cade Horton pitched 5.2 innings, 4 strikeouts, no earned runs, 0.88 WHIP. Against the White Sox in his last one on the 26th, 6.1 innings, got the win, 3 strikeouts, no earned runs, 0.79 WHIP. Now, obviously, Horton's never going to be a major strikeout guy, but he's been doing a great job at suppressing runs. The control's gotten a lot better of late. 3 out of his last 4 starts have been really good. You mentioned on July 3rd against Cleveland, 7 innings, 5 strikeouts, no earned runs, 1 WHIP in that one as well. And against the Orioles next week, we kind of talked about the Orioles a little bit earlier. I know Tyler O'Neill's hitting good, but I mentioned the rest of that team has not been fantastic. So that's a nice little matchup for Cade Horton. Might be able to give you some length in that one, 6 or more innings in 2 out of the last 4. And as I mentioned, one of those was 5.2 innings, so he almost got there. So Cade Horton, as he's been going along, he's been getting a little bit better, and nice really go of it from the young starting pitcher here. 24% owned on Yahoo for the Chicago Cubs starting pitcher Cade Horton. Nice little matchup against Baltimore coming up this week here for Week 17. Let's move into my last guy this episode. I know I literally talked about him on the last must-add player episode I did, but I called it. So I just want to mention that I can't confirm what I said. I kind of threw out there that I thought Joe Boyle was going to go into the Rays rotation, and he is scheduled to start against the New York Yankees this upcoming Tuesday. And Joe Boyle has a lot of upside, man. He's been really good in the minors. Hasn't figured it out fully yet here in the bigs. He had a little bit of a go of it in 2023. Wasn't that successful, and was successful in 2023, wasn't successful in 2024 in the 47 innings that he did pitch. But even this year in the bigs, it's 5 games, 1 start for Boyle, 19 innings, 18 strikeouts, 1.42 ERA. He has an 0.6 WHIP over that time, so a lot to like here. And he's young. He's still only 25 years old. He's 6'8", 250, mountain of a man, very intimidating on the mound. And let's kind of just talk about how successful he's been in the minors. We'll even do this year what Joe Boyle has done in AAA. 14 starts in AAA for Joe Boyle, a 1.85 ERA, 73 innings pitched to 96 strikeouts, and an 0.98 WHIP. That's the kind of guy we're talking about. The Rays are very good with starting pitching. We've seen what they've done with guys like Glass now, David Price, just so many, good young starting pitchers have come through Tampa Bay over the years. And I think Joe Boyle can also be a product of that. Listen, the Yankees start might not be great, but Joe Boyle is widely available, 17% owned on Yahoo. And let's see who he gets after that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's hope it's the Angels and not the Dodgers. Let's see how that Rays rotation plays out. It could be the Dodgers, but I would love to see Boyle get the Angels in his next start after this Yankee start. That's going to be on Tuesday, but that is TBD. But I'd add Joe Boyle, regardless of who that next start's coming against. There's a lot of upside here. Could be a big strikeout guy, very good control, and suppresses runs. You really not much else you can ask for from a starting pitcher that you're going to grab off the waiver wire. But guys, that is all for today. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen today. Shout out to our everydayers and new listeners. And then for your second listen, you need to check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. And guys, that is all for today. Until next time, see ya.